This reaction is brought to you by my $5 or more patrons at patreon.com/AlexHeitz. I would like to thank Steve Aldersley, Andreas Glacial, Ray Schuster, at HawkGirlVideo69 on Twitter, Identitech, Kurt David, Mark Ventura, Mason Frost, Matthew McLaughlin, M. DeBelly, Will E, Will G, Bill Jabber, it could be Bill, B. Jabber, David Mannion, Ewan Reed, James Hanley, and Livitz for sponsoring this video, supporting me and my family month in and month out. We appreciate it more than you know, and I hope you all enjoy the video. So here we are, guys. We've finally arrived in Michael Stipeville, Michael Stipe Land. You just pay to get in and all the rides are free. I don't know. There's a joke somewhere. I don't know what it is, though. Yeah, so we're finally in the R.E.M. binge, and we're starting in a very interesting place. I was told that it would be good to start with this EP, this kind of debut EP, although apparently they had an EP from 81. Looks a little more, I don't know, ghetto? I don't know what the word is. Yeah, this EP came out in 82, recorded in 1981, October. Yeah, so we're starting in, and I'll get into that here in a moment. For those who don't know, I do unedited reactions at my Patreon, patreon.com/AlexHeitz. For $5 a month, you can get access to unedited reactions from Modest Mouse going forward. That is April of 2021 that I started doing them. And it's getting close to around 50 complete releases, unedited, so you can get access to that archive for $5 a month. You also get a shout out at the front of the video. If you don't want to do that, you can also hop in at $1 a month. It gets you access to voting in polls that we do every 2 to 4 albums. Kind of just breaks up the monotony of going through these artist binges, injects just a miscellaneous album for fun. Last one we did was Screamadelica by Primal Scream, fun dance album from the UK. So yeah, if you want to support the channel, that would be the place to do it. You could also support the channel by checking out NordVPN in the description. Great VPN service, fast speeds, great prices, super secure. I've been using them for years, and they reached out, asked if I wanted to be an affiliate, and I'm like, of course I do. You provide a great service, and they said, oh great, let's hug, and I didn't want to hug because it was a company. You can't really hug a company, last I checked. Yeah, I don't think you can. Anyway, if you want to support the channel and get access to a great VPN, check out my link in the description. Okay, Chronic Town, R.E.M. This is kind of the precursor to Murmur, which I'm very excited to get to. But let me give a little bit of a backstory about R.E.M. here before we dive fully into the EP. My familiarity with the band in general, I have heard, before I was doing any kind of reactions and stuff, Stand, which I think is actually a pretty decent song. I don't know if that's going to be on an album we'll be listening to. Is it? I don't know. That's kind of like a fun, sort of silly song. I don't love it artistically, but it's fun. And then the one I love, I've heard that. I've heard Orange Crush, which I'm not super into Orange Crush. It's okay, though. And then, of course, Losing My Religion. I may have heard Shiny Happy People at some point. I cannot remember. And then, since doing these reactions on YouTube, I heard, I think, 2 R.E.M. tracks in my top 10 singles live streams. You can go check those out in my YouTube live streams playlist. I went through from 1950 to present and listened to the top 10 singles rated on rateyourmusic.com from every year. And the ones that I included in that list, I skipped most of them because I'm going to end up doing them on these album reactions. But the ones I did do were Fall on Me, which is a really nice, simple jangle pop tune. I listened to that one quite a bit since hearing it. Very nice. And then Night Swimming, which was from 93. Really pleasant track as well. I think that's from Automatic for the People, right? And those are the only 2 that I did. So that is my history with R.E.M. Very unfamiliar with their earlier stuff. Like I said, Fall on Me, which is from Life's Rich Pageant, I believe. Aside from that, nothing. So we're diving into the EP here, Chronic Town, short 21-minute EP, as EPs are. We have 5 tracks here. Apparently, Chronic Town is only 3, and there's one called Poster Torn that is the B side to this. Um, I assume it's not like an extra EP thrown in; it's just they're titled different. But yeah, this is actually on R.E.M. On R.Y.M. Rate Your Music, the number 1 ranked EP for 82, and the 35th highest ranked EP overall. So, Jangle Pop, Post Punk. That's kind of the oeuvre of early R.E.M. Some would argue that they were kind of progenitors of the alt rock sound, especially like in early 80s. So I'm really interested to see what this is going to sound like. I don't know what early REM sounds like at all. So without any further ado, I think we're just going to go ahead and dive right on in, see what Michael Stipe is doing in 1982. First track, Wolves Lower.
Suspicion yourself, don't get caught. Suspicion yourself, here's a house to put. Wolves at the door. Suspicion yourself, don't get caught. Suspicion yourself.
Fascinating. Interesting. My. What do we have here? Definitely more complex than some of the REM that I've heard. It I can see why you would kind of have like a post-punk angle on that. Is very shifty with the chords as well. Not super melodic. Definitely jangly though. Definitely jangly. Yeah, I don't have a ton to say about it. I think it was mostly straightforward. But yeah, interesting beginning for sure. Next track is Gardening at Night. Okay. I like that one more than Wolves Lower. Definitely has that REM vibe already. As I was listening to this, I had a realization. Like, I think of REM, and for some reason my mind jumps to like 90s. Like, all of the stuff that I'm familiar with. Things like One I Love, Orange Crush, late 80s, and then you have like Stand in 89, Losing My Religion 91, all that type of stuff. It seems later, and then to realize like this was 82. Like, you still had all of the 80s ahead of you, and 80s were jam packed with, these new wave bands, a lot of synth stuff, and like jangle pop, was kind of like, Smiths weren't around yet, right? Like, that was like 84 through 87. Is that right? No. When were Smiths active? I gotta look now. The Smiths, 84 through 87. But yeah, they were formed in 82 in May. But like also the fact that REM were American, like they were doing like who else was doing this stuff in America? You know, like I think of jangle pop and post punk in the '80s, and I always think of European bands. Um, so like REM were definitely like this black sheep, doing this kind of stuff like in '82. Like this is like pretty close to straightforward alt rock that you would hear in the '90s. Granted, it's a bit softer. I would say it's not as rocky or distorted, but for '82, that's kind of mind-boggling, blowing. Anyway, there's just a thought I had. I don't know if you guys agree. Anyway, that was good. Solid track. I like that. Carnival of sorts. Boxcars. Oh, the guitar and that reminded me of a Cure song. What was it? Fire in Cairo. That's what it is. I'm pretty sure. Um, is it in the verse? The guitar in the verse reminds me. It's like just the way the chords are kind of played, sort of staccato like that. It was driving me crazy the whole time. I'm like, wait, this sounds so familiar. I think that it's very reminiscent of Fire in Cairo. That wasn't too bad. Nice little jangly kind of thing. Almost feels sort of like proto Johnny Marr in a slight way. Yeah, I'm on board. I'm on board the R.E.M. train. Hopefully, I don't get tired of Michael Stipe's vocals. I enjoy them, but maybe like in moderation. We'll have to see how that goes. Um, yeah, nice. Like for a EP, it's like what is Murmur gonna be like? I'm excited. Okay, two tracks left. We have 1 million. Well, you got to have something for everyone, right? um, Definitely a little bit more of the post-punk vein in there. You got the repetition that a lot of punk-based riffs kind of exist in. Um, Interesting. Like probably not going to be my favorite types of tracks from REM. I like when they go a little bit more melodic, and I think they have a lot of melodic chops. But even still, that's perfectly palatable. Has an interesting spice to it. Can't deny that. Okay, last track, everyone. Stumble. And there she blows. We did it. I liked it more than a million. I'll say that. Maybe a little long. It's kind of repeated itself a little too much, but definitely taking more influence from stuff that was probably happening in the early 80s as far as like post-punk stuff, especially from Europe. In that vein. But yeah, Chronic Town, pretty good. I would say the second half, A Million and Stumble, were probably my two least favorites. But they weren't bad. I'm not. That's a difference between objectivity and subjectivity. I'm not knocking them. Gardening at Night and Carnival of Sorts are my two favorites. I think Gardening at Night was pretty great. Wolves Lower was pretty solid as well. Yeah, I probably won't come back to many of these except for like Gardening at Night and maybe Carnival of Sorts. But it's a really interesting snapshot of where the band is at this point. And they had already recorded their Radio Free Europe single in 81 that apparently had Sitting Still on it as well. Both from Murmur, correct? Is that right? Yes. And I haven't heard that track yet. Everyone's going to be like, what, you haven't? It's like, you guys have to realize, ever since I started doing these in 2018, which is, we just passed the 4-year mark in September, I've been basically withholding a lot of these massive things to listen to. And I only started getting into music probably in like 2014 in any real sense. Before that, I was listening to like 5 bands. So there's a lot of stuff. I didn't grow up like with a super musical family, or at least people that shared music with each other. So I've only had like 4 years before doing album reactions to like actually get into music. And that was mostly like a bunch of Radiohead, Neutral Milk Hotel, Godspeed You Black Emperor, basically most of the stuff that Anthony Fantana would give a 10 to. That's pretty much all I listen to. So a lot of this stuff I have not heard. But yeah, Chronic Town, interesting, solid, cool snapshot of where they were at this point in time. And I'm really interested to see how it will lead into Murmur coming up next. Okay. That's all I got for you guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. Interesting listen there. Post-punk R.E.M. in 82 in America. Fascinating. Music history, am I right? Anyway, things to plug. We got Patreon, of course, yet again. Like I said, $5 a month, unedited reactions, of which this will be one of them, and $1 a month access to voting in polls that we will do every 2 to 4 albums, give or take. Also got to plug the Discord, link in the description for that. I got about 160 to 170 members over there. Lots of fun talking about music discussion, music recommendations, topster charts, memes, controversial topics. We got all the channels over there. So if you want to join the community of people who watch my videos and like to talk to one another about music, that would be the place to do it. That's all I got for you guys. Hope you're all doing well. Really excited to get into Murmur next. Yeah, we're going to do Murmur, Reckoning, Fables of Reconstruction, Life's Rich Pageant, Document, Green, Automatic for the People, and New Adventures in Hi-Fi. We got a big selection coming up, so I hope you're all ready for it. You better be ready for it. Anyway, that's all I got. Like I said, hope you're all doing well, and I'll catch you in the next video or something, I don't know, but until next time, Godspeed.